So we're going to talk a little bit about just what we just said, some social engineering threats. You want to start on there? We'll go back and forth. And you got a few you want to hit, and save me the easy ones, please.
I got you. So when it comes to social engineering, one of the primary things that a lot of people get caught up in is phishing. And it means exactly, even though it's not spelled the way that we typically know phishing to be, the opportunity or the thought process is still the same. You're trying to bait people into clicking on links most of the time to be able to get information or to be able to actually run different type of malicious software onto those systems that you may have access to. So phishing is a very, very popular type of attack, and it's a very easy attack to be able to execute because most people don't think twice about the emails that they receive. And if the hacker is really good at what they're doing, or the threat actor is really good at what they're doing, it's going to make it look even more legitimate that it came from one of your friends, or it came from your bank, or it came from one of your colleagues or someone like that, to make it, really look official. So you definitely have to be prepared. I really just recommend to most people that you don't click on links unless you know for certain. And if that takes a phone call or something to make sure that that person or that organization sent you that email, then take the extra step to make that phone call. But normally, if I'm getting emails that have links associated with them, I'm actually taking that link. We also call it a URL, which is a uniform resource locator, and placing it within the address bar and typing in that link to ensure that I'm not being pointed into the wrong direction or being affected by some type of malicious software.
Yes, and I'm happy that Ricardo brought that up about phishing and whaling, the fact that they go after CEOs and CFOs, the big kahuna, the whale. Do you think about that? We just had a recent incident with a company, small business as well, with their bank. The banker is so used to the CEO sending emails back and forth, let's transfer this amount of money somewhere, or can you wire this amount of money? And they're just used to getting that information. But the bank had policies in place where you can have the email, but you have to do a phone verification after the fact. Well, that CEO possibly, or even a bank branch manager, had been compromised. Their email had been compromised. So they received that phishing email from an individual in Florida. And guess what the bank manager did? They received an email requesting $25,000 be wired to someone in Florida from the CEO. The bank manager, so used to having communication with that CEO, transferred that $25,000 to Florida. This just happened here recently in our neck of the woods. Mm-hmm. Transferred that $25,000 to Florida, but did not pick up the phone to call to verify. And so that was a successful phishing attempt, because guess what? As soon as that $25,000 hit that account, they emptied that account and they closed that account just that fast. So there was no way for the bank to recoup that money, and the bank actually had to give the business back the money, and the branch manager was released. So she lost her job because of something simple. And why did that happen? Because small businesses, banks, corporate America, not like the military, corporate America is not providing employee training.
That's key.
That is key. Social engineering training is not happening. And something that simple, if she had been trained on a regular basis on ensuring that she verifies by phone that was the individual, and not getting so comfortable. We get familiar with people, we get familiar with processes, and that's what the hacker is waiting on. Your familiarity, when you let your guard down, and next thing you know, your bank account is empty.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the bank don't have to give it back, because they had to go back and forth and do a background investigation to figure out, was it the CEO's error or was it the bank manager's error? Because had it been the CEO error and they had been hacked, that money would have been lost for that company.
Yes.
And phishing and smishing is pretty much the same thing. Phishing is via email. Phishing is a voice where they do it over the phone. We're all getting those calls now.
Yeah,
daily.
A lot of those robot calls.
Yes, definitely. And foreign countries calling us, telling us about our social security cards and all these different things for money.
UORS money. And
yes,
things like
definitely.
That.
So that just tells you they're getting better at their processes. And like I said earlier, I feel really bad for the elderly, because we can catch and know that they're being fraudulent. But how many elderly people? I mean, I just had a conversation with someone said her mother lost $35,000 based off of these voice and SMS text message type of transmissions.
Right. And so with the text message, like Kimberly was talking about, I actually had this happen to me. I had a text message that told me that my account had been compromised and I need to click on this link in order to get the issue resolved. Being that I had training and being that I understood what was possibly happening, I picked up the phone, called my bank, and I asked my bank, is that a process or a policy that you guys usually implement? Do you contact your customers via text to let them know that their accounts or have been compromised? The gentleman over the phone quickly told me, no, sir, that is not how we operate. And can you please give me the phone number that that particular text came from so that it can be investigated and so that people can be understood and know that that's a possible phone number that's malicious and causing malicious content. So just as easy as that. So you always have to be on guard and stay on guard, no matter what type of transmission or type of elements that you're using for communication. You definitely have to stay on guard and be alert and vigilant about the information that you share and use.
Yes, and just remember, as an entrepreneur and business owners, you are responsible, ultimately responsible for all of these cybersecurity threats that are happening. No one wants to hear that I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know that that happens.
Yes.
You as a CEO, is your job to ensure that you have a cybersecurity expert either working at your job, in your business, or you have a consultant.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we don't want to pay that money for it. But the way our world is moving today, you have to find yourself a consultant that you can call or can come in once a quarter and do training with you or your small staff, everybody,
Yeah.
just to make sure that they understand that these little small things happen. You can't have everyone tailgating and piggybacking in the office. We have little swipe codes when you come into our building for the students and the staff. And each student has to, or each staff member has to put their badge up so we know what time they're entering the building. There are times with tailgating is when people come in with you. I'll swipe and you're going to come in. I come in and you come in with me. Tailgating is you don't know that person has not swiped their card and come inside with you. Piggybacking is we just came in from the smoke deck together or lunch or anywhere else and put our card up. And they say, come on, guys, you can come on in with me. And they're not being accounted for in the building as well. So these are just different social engineering threats. There are so many others out there that we have. Pre-texting, baiting, different types of malware, quid pro quo. You guys can Google a lot of these things and find out about them. But it's very important that you start familiarizing yourself with social engineering threats.
I do want to add, you said baiting, and I think this is one that's worth going into a little bit more detail about.
Mm-hmm.
Baiting is one that's really easy to get caught up in because what the hacker or the attacker will do is try to take advantage of our curiosity.
Yes.
Most of the time when you have baiting attacks, what happens is that the hacker or attacker will initially intentionally leave a USB drive on the ground or leave something on the ground like that. And normally in a place where it's easily noticeable. And guess what's going to happen? Most of the time, most of us will pick up that USB and out of curiosity, we're like, I wonder what's on this. Or did I lose this USB thinking that it's mine and go and plug it in. And once you plug that USB into your system, now your system has been compromised and attacked with some type of malware.
And the federal government, you're not even allowed to connect USBs to the computers. But that's the difference between the US government and corporate America. Who do you see being hacked on TV all the time? Corporate America, because we allow the fact that you can bring a USB in and stick it in your computer. No kind of a scan has been done on it. And next thing you know, your network has been compromised.